This is Adrienne with the Lunchtime Live today. And the topic that I wanted to go over is tax extensions. And I really kind of wanted to break them down. I know it is early, right? So a lot of people are like, what? Already? We're talking about extensions. It's not due till April or March or whatever the case is. But I really kind of wanted to break down why, what it is, when you might need one, and what are some of the benefits. So an extension, if you timely file a tax extension federally and with the state, if applicable, it will actually give you an extra 6 months to file your final tax return. So that extra 6 months is crucial for a lot of people who may have some, extenuating circumstances as to why they need some additional time. But just remember that an extension of time is not also an extension of time to pay. So while you have more time to file, you do still have the same deadline to pay the taxes that are due. So what I do recommend if you're thinking about filing an extension is try and do some rough math or get a decent estimate as to what you potentially owe if you do have a balance that's due, and try your best to pay that amount when you're filing for the extension. The reason why you want to do that is because, like I said, even though it's an extension of time to file, it's not an extension of time to pay. So the amount due might be subject to penalties and interest, and we want to avoid all of that, right? So do your best to plan ahead. That's why we're having the conversation now. If you do think that you might need to file an extension, start, figuring out, okay, what might I owe? How can I afford to make that payment on time, and start creating a plan or working with someone to create that plan. So we always want to avoid penalties and interest whenever possible. So this is why it's important to plan ahead. So why would you want to do this? It's February, we're talking about extensions. It's not due till, March, April. I feel like I have plenty of time. Well, you might be worried that laws will change. We've seen it actually happen last year, during the 2020 tax season, where in the middle of tax season, some new laws came out, and people really needed to go back and amend their returns. So listen, I'm not a politician. I am not a fortune teller. I can't guarantee what will and will not happen, but maybe that's a concern for you, that you say, hey, I'm not really sure. I can hold off on filing. Or, hey, maybe I'm getting a refund and I can hold off a little bit. Let me just, see what happens. I can wait a couple more weeks or so. You may want to also determine, let's say you're not a homeowner, I'm sorry, but a business owner, and you have a retirement account. So let's say you have you're looking to set up a SEP IRA because you want to make contributions that will count towards the prior year, but you're in the current year. So you may be still figuring out, okay, well, how much can I afford to contribute? Do I even want to open this plan? Does it make sense for my situation? So in that case, you might say, I need a little bit more time to figure those things out. You may have a pending deal or transaction that you're not sure if, the new return, if that will change things for your qualification, or, whatever your financial situation might be, or whatever that other party is looking at or reviewing, or maybe you're applying for a grant program and you're not ready to file that return yet. Maybe that might be a reason why you want some additional time so you can work on your current operations or deals or whatever's on the table, and then, get to the taxes, dedicate time there, get it right when you have more availability. Also, life is unpredictable. So if COVID has taught us anything, the pandemic, we sometimes you really just need more time, just given circumstances, personal things that are going on, things that might be coming up soon. So it's always good to kind of have that extension as a safety net so that you aren't being penalized or getting unnecessary penalties, and you can just proactively say, hey, I'm going to file my extension and I have the extra time if I need it, but you don't necessarily have to take it. Another reason why you might want to also file extension is you simply just really want to get it right. You also want to, work on having the right backup and documentation, especially if you're a small business owner. Keeping accurate books and records are so important. Keeping your receipts, some type of documentation to substantiate some of the deductions that you're taking. If you had to do an estimate, you want to make sure that, you're spending the time to get it right. So those might be some reasons why you would consider doing an extension. So when is an extension due? Extension is due on your tax due date, right? So I'm going to use generally what the dates are, because some tax years fall on a weekend or on a holiday and the date may shift, but these are the dates that returns are generally due. So an 1120S or a 1065 is generally due March 15th, so that the K1s can be generated and the K1s can get to the parties that need to receive them so that they can put them on their personal returns to file in April. 1120s and 1040s are generally due April 15th, so 1 month later. So as long as you file that extension and make the payment of what's due by the filing due date, you will get the 6-month extension, so additional time to file. You'll pay what was due on the due date, the actual due date, so March or April, and by making the payment, you would avoid additional penalties and interest if you're paying the full amount that you have due. Or, if you overpay it, then you'll get a refund when you file your final return. But very important, I want to really emphasize, file the extension, make some type of payment at the same time. Now, I've said it a few times, what does the extension actually give you? Like I said, it gives you 6 additional months to file. So if you had a return that was due in March, it will now be due in September. If you had a return that was due in April, it will now be due in October. And what I saw from last tax season is that, people located in New York, we had that hurricane in 2021, and they actually extended anyone that had a return that was due during the time of the hurricane. They extended it once to January, and then they extended it again to February. So I actually have some people whose returns, they filed the extensions timely back in 2021 by the due date, and they got extended all the way to February of 2022. So if they didn't have those extensions in on time, they would have been subject to penalties and interest, because by the time they filed it in 2022, it would have been really late. But that's one of the reasons why I'm saying you never know. Life is unpredictable. You never know what laws will come later on. So getting ahead and just preemptively having that safety net. So this is really what does this give you? It gives you a safety net, so that if something were to just pop up, you already took care of it. It's already handled. So start having the conversation. You should be receiving documents. You should be, getting ready to file. So start having the conversation. Understand, hey, what does the rest of my year look like? Hey, what does my current situation look like? And are there any things I can still do to mitigate the amount that I have due, to maybe put a few extra dollars away for retirement if you have that luxury? But this is I normally like to plan ahead. So start having the conversation now about 2022, but I do recognize, life happens, like I said, and you may be in a situation where you're trying to figure out, okay, we're already past December 31st, but is there anything else I can still do to try and save on my 2021 taxes? So those are some tips. Those are some facts around extensions. My name is Adrienne. I am the founder of Fame Consulting. So if you need any support on figuring out, what can I do? How do I file an extension? Hey, I need help with my taxes. You can always reach me, find me on social media. You can find me here. You can leave a comment below. You can send me a direct message. Just reach out to me. I'll share my appointment calendar below this video so that you can book an appointment. But yes, there's support and I'm available. So thank you, and I'll be here next week. Take care.